Hello, welcome. Hooked boxing this week. Hooked casuals, rather. I'm a bit tired, so I've just said the wrong thing. That's my original. But it is boxing this week 50. 50th episode, which is kind of crazy. So we are nearly at the year mark. I'm not going to lie to people. We are, I think it's fair to say, both slightly ill. I know I'm there. Good timing. Yeah, we've both got little issues right now. So, okay, Paolo's, that's a big issue. But yeah, welcome. So 50th episode, we got another 2, and then we hit the year mark. That's big. But to get into it fairly much straight away, Paolo is now back. We just want to mention again the giveaway that we've got going. 500 subscribers, £50 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is subscribe and say that you have subscribed. Then we know you're entered. We put you on a list. We'll do a video. Boom, done. And let's just go straight into it. No weekly roundup this week. There's very little to talk about other than the key stuff. First of all, I want to talk about Eddie Reynoso's fighters. Earlier today, Jaime Munguia has come out. He's failed a drugs test.
Oh, here we go.
So that is now Canelo with the stake. Munguia, first training camp away from Freddie Roach. He's with Reynoso, and he's failed. We've had Virgil Ortiz, not Virgil Ortiz, sorry, my bad. Victor Valdez, rather, Oscar Valdez. And we've had one more, whose name's slipping my mind. That's 4 fighters under Eddie Reynoso.
What? We got to give them the same heat that we're giving Conor Benn and these guys. Conor Benn was actually never found guilty, like fully guilty of it, as in he was acquitted. But what I'm trying to say is when the charges were when they were accused, because accuser word is the right word, isn't it? When they were accused, we got to give these fighters the same heat. I wonder, it's interesting. Do you know what? Yeah, it actually stems me onto a different point. Canelo failed a drugs test, didn't it?
Yeah.
But Eubank ain't got the same energy for Canelo. But he's all talking about how he does, fighting a drugs cheat and all of this. And when it comes to Canelo, he's one of the best fighters going. That which is not wrong, but then if you use the same narrative, I will go back to the other point, but it's just rattled me, Connor. I've got to get it out. Yep. If you use the same narrative that you don't show any respect to anyone who's a cheat, why aren't you talking the same for Canelo? It's mad.
Yeah, but this is the thing. At what point do we actually we turn around and go, okay, well, we've got Canelo is there, Oscar Valdez is there, and we've seen with Valdez it's really bad as well because he actually failed before the fight and they let him fight anyway because they wanted the fight night because he was the main event. Munguia has just failed on the comeback fight after his shock loss in December to Bruno Sarachi. Bruno Sarachi has done a statement saying, basically calling Munguia a cheat and saying that he's within his right. Square, but he's had an adverse finding. It's VADA as well. VADA are normally pretty reliable.
VADA are the reliable drugs.
So at what point do we kind of look at Eddie Reynoso and say you should be banned?
No, because it's not down to the coach.
But
it's not. I'd like to think, unless to an extent, it raises a debate. And to be fair, I'd love to get a coach's point on it. So I'll try and get someone to send a voice note whilst we're talking in the show, and we can go back to it. Yeah. Very established coach as well in South London. I'm just gonna let me answer your question, but let me just send him this voice note and then see what he says. It's Mr. Louis from DFC Gumshield, but he's also an established boxing coach as well. Louis, just a quick question. We're talking about Munguia's just been found positive via VADA. Reynoso obviously coaches him. The question that is being asked, or what has been suggested, is this is Reynoso's 4-fighter, Connor, isn't it? 4-fighter that has been found guilty of having adverse findings. So at what point should a coach take blame for it? My personal opinion is I find it very difficult how you can put it on the coach, but then the question is can you? How much involvement have they got with a fighter? I want to get a coach's perspective. You are on live, so just remember that when you're using a type of voice. All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, Louis. All right, cool. Sorry, carry on. Yeah. So, I can see that. I can see the point you're trying to make. But how do you blame the coach? I'm trying to ask you.
They're around the fighter every day. They've got responsibility. A coach takes responsibility for a fighter's well-being when they're in the ring, right?
But does he take responsibility for their nutrition?
Some of them will. I'm not saying Eddie Reynoso does for Canelo, but right, you're a coach. Your fighter is on PEDs. You know that he's on PEDs. Especially with like the Canelo and the Valdez, you know they are.
Yeah.
Here, maybe it's different. It's his first fight count with Reynoso, so maybe Munguia is taking it beforehand. And he is innocent until proven guilty. But the point is, we're at a point with Reynoso now where we've had it too many times. The way I see it is there's some issue with his gym. There's something going on with his gym. So that someone has access to these fighters and they're giving them something that they should not be.
Yeah.
We know that all fighters, to an extent, I mean, they're supreme athletes. Like we know there's probably way more doping going on in the sport than we'd like to think about, and we know, and that probably goes unfortunately from the bottom to the top level. But we also know that there's VADA and there's organisations that are really in place to put a stop to it. So it's difficult. The way that Munguia has been found out is not similar. I know we mentioned Conor Benn, but it's not similar to Conor Benn. Conor Benn's was weird. Half the reason that got so much interest was because it was on fight week, cancelled one of the biggest fights of that year, and then also it was just really odd. Like UCAD hadn't failed, but VADA had.
Are we saying that you're bigging, not we, but obviously people are bigging up a certain scenario because of the more weight behind it in terms of because it's Eubank and Ben.
Yeah.
People are basically over dramatized what the actual issue is.
Yeah, it flooded into that was front page news.
Because this is the thing, yeah. Like, can we? It'd be good to get a nutritionist. I know a nutritionist as well. Will, I'm going to reach out to him. It'd be good to get him on to. I've spoken to him about this before, but he needs to go. Guys, check him out. Will, nutritionist, does a lot of professional fighters nutrition, and has a little bit of an insight onto doping and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not his profession. His profession is nutrition, but he obviously been in that field, understands a lot. But my thing is, so take for example for the moment, because we are talking about obviously Reynoso's fighters, yeah, but we're using the Eubank and Ben example, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first time that this specific fighter that we're talking about from Reynoso's gym has been found with adverse findings, right?
Yeah.
Same with Conor Benn. So his tests that come back a bit when they were first flagged. Because people love to, as soon as they hear like a positive drugs test, yeah, one thing they do say is, well, these fights before didn't, but well, how do I know you weren't doing it on this? But I'm pretty sure that you would have had drug tests leading up to your previous fight. So you've only been found. So are they saying that specifically he's only been found guilty for like recently, or is it?
It's recent. It's his rematch against Bruno Sarachi that he's been found guilty for. Which to me screams more guilt because it's in a fight that he should have won the first time.
And he lost.
And it was a shock loss that he's then come back and he's supplemented, cheated to make sure he beats a fighter that he should beat. It's a really bad look for Jaime Munguia. I'm really thinking.
Where does he got? The thing is, he's not in a position like for me. Like I like Munguia as a fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
But where does he's got two problems. He's got this test now. It's going to see, regardless of the investigation, he ain't going to be able to box for about a year minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum a year, right? So you've got that problem. Second problem you've got is where is he? At one point he was the guy to come up. Everyone was talking about him. He lost against Canelo, but it's Canelo.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's Canelo. He then loses. Sarachi won the first fight.
Yeah.
Where you at now? Where is he at? And how badly is this going to affect him even further? Considering that he's trying to build himself back up and he's not going to get that chance because he probably won't fight Sarachi now.
No.
Where does Munguia go? That is the question.
I don't know. I think now he's stuck, like you say. We're not going to get we're not going to get an answer on this for a while to prove that he is guilty or innocent. So it's going to take, like Conor Benn took about 2 years to properly sort that case out, and he ended up being innocent, or not proven guilty, or however they word it. But the issue, I mean, super middleweight's a weird division right now anyway, because you've got guys like Christian and Billy who actually deserve a shot more than Terence Crawford. But how can you turn down Canelo Crawford? You can't. Maybe you should. Maybe they should, because it maybe health-wise isn't sensible. But money, everything, they're not going to turn it down. So the whole division's in a hold-up. I would say the best fight for Munguia would have been Caleb Plant. I mean, obviously we'll be talking about Caleb Plant in a second, but or in a few minutes. I would have thought Caleb Plant would have made sense. Maybe Christian and Billy. And Billy fighting soon, I believe. Caleb Plant fighting this weekend. Time-wise, Munguia could have had a fight there. September
fighting, fight. Oh my God. Sorry, that was a bit exaggerated.
But
we're fighting this weekend. Sorry, I'm bad excited there.
We've got the thing is, we've got the super middleweight division is brilliant. It's a little bit like how the light heavyweights, not everyone's getting their shot because Bivol and Beterbiev are fighting. But the difference is that Bivol and Beterbiev are the best. Canelo is a bit annoying because we know Canelo's the best. He's been the best for years, but it feels like nobody's had a shot at it for years. And the ones that are getting the shots are the William Skull, who's just, he wasn't good enough. It was disappointing. I think the whole gym needs to be investigated.
The whole gym needs to be investigated.
The whole gym.
CSI, FBI, LAPD, Met Police, flipping Interpol. Are you saying they all need to be there? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not, maybe not that much, but they need more. Like, how
He's sending me a voice note, by the way, so I'm going to play it out for the people because, go carry on.
I'm just saying that if the amount of cases we've had from this gym now, and from this coach, and from the coach, the strength and conditioning, it's all one gym. They're pretty good about the fact that it's one big team, Team Canelo, if you like, but the Eddie Reynoso. I think they all need to be looked into.
So we're saying investigation to the nation, all of them out.
Yeah.
What are you lot having for breakfast? Too many eggs? Or too much gravy?
Too many eggs. All right, let's hear what the coach has to say. Let's get the opinion.
Let's hear what the coach. He's sending me a voice note now. You see, with Louis' voice notes, hear me out.
Yeah.
I just got to vet the first 5 seconds because he says some mad stuff sometimes.
But
we are waiting for Louis. Louis is a matchmaker for DFC, which if you look at the Don's Fight Club, get to know, very big semi-professional show. But he also runs a very respectable amateur and professional gym in South London called Gumshield. Daniel Francis is one of his fighters.
Right.
And then he's got loads of ABA, like amateurs, etc. on his thing. And he's got a couple of pros on there as well, Connor. So it's interesting, but we are waiting. But you're really out for Reynoso, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's no world, right?
Yeah,
there is no world where that should be an acceptable thing to happen in a recurring event in a gym where they've got people failing drugs tests. If it happens once, you don't even look at the coaches. Well, if it keeps happening, they're putting it's I don't even know how to say it. In my head, I got like gang association, but it's not that. The point is, right, is if they're misleading fighters, if everyone in the gym is doing something, they can justify it, right? It's that kind of thing.
Louis got an point. Should we play it?
Yeah,
right, we're going to play it. I'm going to play you the start as well because he said, I won't swear.
I won't swear. Do you know what it is? Coach is responsible just as much as the fighter is responsible. Coach should know everything that's going into his boxer, whether it's food, drink, drugs, medication, for anything. that's part of their job. Your job is to track everything your boxer's eating, down to diet, down to
Didn't know
supplements and
that.
stuff like that. I ain't being funny. He's been found with testosterone in his system. So yeah, I think especially if it's 4 times now. Obviously, don't get me wrong. Boxers can take things without their coaches knowing and whatnot. So it's a bit of a hard one to say that a coach is responsible. But if you've now had 4 fighters all fail drugs tests, it ain't a good look. Do you know what I mean? It's happened with Domingo over the years. A few of these fighters failing drugs tests. Again, can't always blame it on a coach, but when it happens a few times, it's not a good look. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a hard one. It's a sticky situation. Boxers should be banned either way. Start handing out lifetime bans to boxers that fail drugs tests, because I guarantee you he won't ask for his B sample to be tested, because if your A sample's failed, pretty much guaranteed that your B sample is going to fail as well.
Interesting.
But it will come down to how much money gets thrown about. Look at the situation with Conor Ben. No ban served. Fucking, he had the WBC tell him to use the egg.
One sec. I told you, like I said, Connor's not gonna. Louis not gonna swear. He swore. Go on, carry on. One sec. He sent me 2. So we do. Listen, this is as good as having someone on the show, right?
Yeah.
Lifetime bans.
Let's get this.
Do you know what I mean? It's all down to money. So yeah, it's a very sticky situation. But you fail a drugs test. If you genuinely don't feel like you've tested, that you've taken anything, fight your case, prove it. If you can't prove it and they prove that you did knowingly take a banned substance, you should get a lifetime ban from. And you know what's gutting about that situation as well? I know Bruno Saras personally. He's come over.
Interesting.
I've taken him up to spar Conor Ben at the Matchroom gym and stuff like that. So with this situation, I'm pissed off on a personal level as well. I know I said I won't swear, but that situation wound me up. The fact that Saras pulled out an unbelievable knockout win against Munguia the first time. They call on a rematch. Bruno Saras didn't have to give him no rematch. He's given it to him, and then he's used drugs as a way of winning the fight because he knew he couldn't win it fair and square, as proven the first time. So yeah, from that aspect, I'm a bit more pissed off on a personal level.
But I think he thinks Saras is taking the drugs. Yeah. So Connor, you still there?
Yeah, I was listening, man. It's interesting. That's a good insight.
Just to clarify, we're talking about Munguia and Saras.
Yeah.
Did he get confused there about who's taking the drugs?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because you say he knows Munguia.
No, he knows Saras.
He knows Saras. Sorry, he knows Saras. And that's why he's pissed off on a personal level, because Saras won the first fight, didn't have to give him the rematch, gave him the rematch, and then Munguia's cheated him.
Yeah.
Just as a bit of an interesting thing, I just wanted to search up and see what fighters were failing for. So Canelo failed for clenbuterol, which is it's kind of like for asthma, really. It makes breathing easier. But obviously for a boxer, it could be helps for cardio. It just helps your lung capacity, blah, blah, blah. Munguia's failed for testosterone. His looks dead set. I can't see a world where his is it is the pinnacle of cheating in boxing. It's to get stronger and be to really hurt your opponent. Oscar Valdez failed for phentamine, which helps you lose weight. That it's different drugs, but that in a way that's almost worse. Obviously, if it was the same drug, then we'd be saying 100% there's something rotten in the gym. Because if all 3 are failing with the same drug, then it's clear as day.
As Louis said, a guy really needs to take a look at if you are a coach to an extent, you're going to be held accountable, right?
Yeah.
Now, to an extent as well, what he's confirmed, and this is a very experienced coach, so I will listen to what he says and I will take it on board. But what he is saying is if like you said, Connor, 4 fighters been found guilty of it. Really, realistically, even though you've got nutritionists involved, it's down to the coach to really check what's going in and out of their fighter. That was the key thing that pulled out for me, in terms of what I took from what Louis was saying as well. It's sad, but do you know what? Interesting thing he said about the B samples as well.
Yeah.
Because if they take, because what did he say? If the A sample has been come back, B sample's coming back.
Yeah, but I mean that's for A and B samples is a human error.
No, but that's what they're saying. What Louis saying is if his A samples come back positive, he won't want to do the B sample. That's what he's saying.
Do you want to hear something really interesting that I've just found out?
What?
Right, investigate the gym and close it down. So I've just told you Canelo failed for clenbuterol, by the way. My respect for Canelo in about 2 seconds has just dropped to the floor. So that is that helps with your breathing. Basically, if you were to cheat and use it as a cheating drug, it's so that you could run longer, work out longer, train longer, all the rest of it.
Okay.
The 4th fighter to fail under Eddie Reynoso, he's actually trained 6 fighters that have failed, but 2 of them failed under different coaches like Ryan Garcia and Luis Neri, was Julio Cesar Martinez. What do you think Julio Cesar Martinez had in his system?
What was it?
Clenbuterol.
Wow.
So I don't care. Like, look, I know that boxing's can be a dirty sport. We know that. Me and Paolo especially, we've spoken to fighters, and anyone that's even touched the surface of boxing knows how dirty it can get. In every aspect. That's people being paid to lose. That's drug tests being put under the carpet, like Dillian White. Just saying. Wow. But the fact is, Eddie Reynoso has had 4 fighters fail, and 2 of them have failed for the same thing.
Hear what I'm saying? I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Connor. Yeah. All right. So obviously it's rife in his gym, right? In terms of that specific drug.
Yeah.
But in the sense of it being the same drug, could that just be down to the fighters trained together and one's gone to the other? Yeah, you take this. Not necessarily Reynoso. Could
have been. But he needs to sort that out. There's like Louis said, there's a responsibility on the coaches. You have to sort your gym out. Clenbuterol also helps with weight loss. A lot of bodybuilders use it for fat burning. So it could be, it's both sides to it. I don't understand how that gym is not going to be investigated. I don't understand how it already hasn't. There's a clear pattern.
Louis just sent me another voice note. Let me just hear him.
Yeah.
Sorry, just another thing, just to add, because I was just watching on and I see you talking about the whole A sample and B sample thing. So the situation with testing and there being A samples and B samples, right? So they'll get a boxer to urinate into the same, into like the same, like say glass or cup, whatever they're using. They split that then into 2 cups. They'll say, which one do you want us to test? The box will pick what cup. Bearing in mind, it's still the same urine.
Interesting, that is. I wonder why that.
The drug association will then, whatever drug association it is, whether it's VADA or UCAD, whatever it is, they will test the one that the box has selected. So if they then fail that, if they ask for the B sample to be tested and it comes back negative, you're meant to get a heftier ban. If you just accept that you failed the drugs test because the A sample come back positive, you serve less of a ban.
Okay.
So that's why I say that they won't ask for the B sample to be tested, because 9 times out of 10, it's the same urine. If you failed the A sample, you are going to fail the B sample.
That's what you meant, yeah.
So if you then test that again, it's going to come back positive. You're going to serve even longer of a ban. And it just don't look good on your behalf. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. Again, very, very wise words that we should take in there from an experienced professional and amateur boxing coach, Gumshield's Gym in South London. So yeah, but yeah, interesting point you made there.
I'm telling you right now, Canelo has cheated, and so has Munguia, so has Valdez, and so has Martinez. And I know that we already kind of know that, but I'm telling you, that gym.
You know what we need? A
is
claw
laced.
meme. It's time to go.
No, it's terrible. It's another fighter, and we know how it goes with these fighters. Eddie Reynoso, for whatever reason, whether it is because he sweet talks a little bit, like money slid across the table.
Did he?
No idea. Or did he stuff? Who knows? But this guy, he's going to get them out of it. But Canelo also failed the drug that's good for fat burning after he beat Kovalev at 175 and had to come back down in weight. And before that 175 fight, he was fighting at 160.
So what are we saying? Reynoso out?
Saying the whole gym out.
Let's get him out.
Whole gym out. Right. Anyway, let's talk about the fights that have happened this week. That's an interesting point. We want to know your opinion on this because I think this is probably I think that's actually the biggest story of the week. However, let's talk about, first of all, Moses Itauma. We're going to talk about Taylor-Essuman, the card, but let's talk about Moses Itauma. Again, he is beaten, or he's won his fight against the fighter.
Round one, you said round two, innit?
I said round two. You said round one. I mean, he knocked him down in round one. Mike Balogun, I think, went with a style that we were all maybe interested to see in that he decided, I'm gonna just charge at him and see what happens.
I think that was very stupid of him, by the way, and you saw that in the last knockout.
Yeah, terrible decision. But I respect him for trying it, I think. Yeah. Mike Balogun not been in the ring for 18 months. Ultimately, not the best fighter we'll see Moses in there with.
In Mike Balogun, that probably didn't help him.
No.
Or give him the best chance to perform. But I feel like with these fighters, they're kind of put in there to do, let's be honest, to do something or a job, whatever that job may be.
Yeah.
But they have little to no chance of winning. Not saying they can't, but they've got little to no chance of winning. It's 99-1 in favor of Moses. Exactly.
Moses is too good for this level, and he's probably, I think people are maybe a little bit worried about pushing him too far at his young age.
We can't. Conor.
But you can't because he is a grown man. He's 20 years old, but that he could get in there with anyone.
Yeah, I understand that, but like a lot of people are saying this, but we've got to understand, that we've got quite potentially a potential former world, a future world champion, a future maybe potential, possibly undisputed if he achieves that. You can't predict the future, but you can just say, I think he's going to do that if you're a fan of what he does. Let's not push him too early, though, because he's 20 years old. He's not really fully developed yet, technically.
Yeah.
When you talk about 21, fully developed in terms of your body, etc., he could go and do similar to what Mike Tyson did at a young age. But the question that he's got to have is what kind of career does he want to have, right? So does he want a longer career? Does he want a shorter career? I think if he eclipses it now, it's going to be very different. Like, it depends what kind of career he wants. Does he want to long his career out? If they push him too early, he'd be out of the sport by 30, 31.
Yeah.
If they really push him and push his body, regardless of how good he is, the more tougher fights he's in, the more it takes off of his body, right? So for me, I'm saying let's enjoy Moses Itauma now. Yeah.
Yeah.
From a boxing standpoint, and let's just see where it goes. But let's push him up slowly. I do think personally he should push through British and then go that way. Not because he can't jump straight to European and whatnot, but to get the experience. It's only going to make him a better fighter. Do you get it? So, and to be fair, by the time he pushes on to British, which will probably be soon, David Adelaide will move on to a European. He will probably move on to a European. That British title will then get relinquished again. Wardley's moved up now. He's gone up to sort of the world European or world level to look for glory. That British title with Johnny Fisher losing, as for me, got Moses written like all over it for a shot. Against who? I don't know if I don't think of David Allen again. We spoke about this before, but David Allen, no, I just don't think he's a no-go.
No.
But he's got loads of experience. But it would be a good learning fight for Itauma. I think David Allen would do better than people thinking there with him. But
yeah, of course he would. Of course he would. Dave Allen's a smart guy. He knows boxing. The issue is I'm hearing. I don't want to be rude. Bacoli to me makes sense because I don't rate Bacoli anymore.
But he's what Bacoli is.
But he's not world level though.
He is though.
How is he?
All right. So he took the Parker fight on. All right, that's down to error.
Parker fight aside, that's
Parker fight he took on no training, not like literally he slept on the plane.
Yeah.
Got from where he was, got to the event, done a bit of media, went to sleep, woke up, fought. Yeah.
Yeah.
He done it for the money. Fair enough. I think he got paid about $500K for that.
Yeah.
So on short notice, cool. A Jagba. I was watching that fight and I was thinking again. A Jagba looked all right. To be fair, I think it's a bit of a stalemate fight in terms of yes, it wasn't the most entertaining and it was what it was, but I don't think it's shot him back down to because I think a fully trained Bacoli is still going to be tough for a lot of even British fighters that we've got. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But he's at the stage where he is in the rankings. But he's dropped down as well. I think he's dropped down with the WBC. He might have even dropped out of it now, to be fair. I still think Bacoli is a world level fighter.
I don't think he's got any win that's credible for world level.
Well, we would have said the same thing about Parker a while ago. Don't get it twisted. Look at the run.
But Joseph Parker has been a world champion before.
No, I understand that. Yeah,
he went 12 rounds with AJ when AJ was just horrible and knocking everyone out. Joseph Parker has done some excellent things. You are right. There was a period of time where he got knocked out by Joe Joyce, and then suddenly we saw a clip of him on Twitter the next morning, and we were like, "Oh, he's fought, and he was fighting Australia on some very weird looking card." And he knocked out like a cruiserweight, really, in 2 or 3 rounds. So Parker's had a weird career, but Parker has been a world champion.
We know
the level, and Parker is more than up there. Technically, he is the number 3 heavyweight in the world right now, I think. Bacoli's best win is Jared Anderson. And Jared Anderson's best win is Charles Martin.
I agree with that. Sorry, yeah, go on. That was delayed. I agree with that still. Yeah, go on.
Jared Anderson went 12 rounds with Charles Martin. He couldn't knock Charles Martin out. Couldn't really hurt Charles Martin. If we think about that fight, I think, like, if we really think about it, and it is hindsight, because I know at the time I wouldn't have said this, but when we think about Bacoli was always going to land clean on Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a way Anderson can beat him. He doesn't hit hard enough and he's not quick enough. Moses hits hard enough and is quick enough. If Bacoli isn't fit, which I don't think we'll ever see a really fit Bacoli, I think he's going to be frustrating like that.
Yeah.
I think he's always just going to be this big lump that, admittedly, he is going to hurt you if you get hit by him, but he is very beatable. Ajagba beat him. The draw was stupid. Efe Ajagba beat him. And I don't rate Efe Ajagba as a top 10 heavyweight in the world right now. He could be, but he's not right now. Bacoli lost. There we go. Hold on.
Michael Hunter as well.
He did. Now,
your call for the IBO.
Yeah. This is the thing. So the Michael Hunter fight, he got injured and all the rest of it. And okay, fine, but yeah, for me, exactly. He's lost to Hunter, lost to Parker. He should have lost to Jagba. And they're completely right about that aura around his name. GWH Murphy, thank you for commenting, by the way. But you're completely right about that aura. It is gone.
It's gone, but what I'm trying to say to you is he's still got bags of experience over Itauma.
Yeah.
By the way, when Itauma's ready, I think he beats Bakoli, by the way. I just think we're pushing him into that fight now, and he's 20 years old. We're being a bit impatient with him. I don't know. I don't know.
But then when he was 19, we had him fighting Dempsey McKean. And I know we don't rate Dempsey McKean, but Dempsey McKean fought Hrgovic.
So you're saying Dempsey McKean, but it's Dempsey McKean world level?
No. But I'm not saying Bakoli's world level.
No, but
I'm saying Dempsey McKean had just fought Filip Hrgovic for the IBF interim.
Would you say the best Dempsey McKean if you get a best Dempsey McKean, on his day, would you ever call the best Dempsey McKean world level?
No.
Could you call the best Bakoli on his day, best Bakoli, everything goes right, world level?
Best Bakoli that we've seen. I'm not doing this like I'm saying the best performance we've seen, and that's Anderson, and that's not world level. I agree. It may be, and there's a world where Bakoli gets a nutritionist and gets proper strength and conditioning, and he comes into the ring about 20 pounds lighter, and he's actually fit. Then we might end up seeing a world level fighter. But right now, we are just seeing that George Foreman when he was 46, 50.
That's crazy.
But that is what we're seeing. We're seeing a fat man who can punch quite hard.
Oh, that's
but
crazy.
Foreman's IQ was way above.
I do hear it. I'm not
Foreman's
saying
timing was brilliant. Like that.
But you can't. Let's be honest. Yeah, let's have it right. Compare man to a Foreman, like a Foreman at any level, bro. Foreman was a world level fighter, bro.
Yeah, no. I'm saying Foreman was, but when Foreman made that return, in 1984, was it? Or was it 77?
Ran out of money, innit? That was a story. Yeah.
When he made his return, I can't remember the exact year, but when he made his return, he came back fat, and it was like in the movie when they say to him, "You're not Superman anymore." But that wasn't Foreman's not training. That's a very different thing. Foreman could have been eating right and training right. He just had a bit of a belly.
Yeah.
Foreman still had the IQ, still had the timing, and had power that's stupid, right? Bakoli has stupid power, but he doesn't train right.
I think, yeah, go on.
I'm not impressed by Bakoli. I was impressed after the Anderson win because that was where we're hearing like, oh, Bakoli's the bogeyman and all this. He's not getting this opportunity. And then we see him against Anderson, who, let's be honest, was promoted really well.
Yeah.
And there's the uppercut where Anderson's head, I'm still convinced, is turned 360 degrees. So it's a crazy punch. But Moses, I think, has been in there with higher level than Bakoli. Yeah. I think when people really overlook the fact Moses knocked out Dempsey McKean in round 1.
That's ridiculous.
Hrgovic didn't do that. Took Hrgovic 12 rounds. And he didn't even knock him out properly. Like, Itauma had about clean. On the canvas, needing oxygen, clean. Moses Itauma is the best prospect I think the UK has ever had. In every sense of it. Like, as a fan favourite to watch and listen to. He speaks well. His trash talk inside of it is not too far that it's like, oh, that was a bit dirty and all the rest of it. But it's not like you're going to walk over him. And when he gets in there, he does the job.
It's interesting because I want to play a clip from. I'm going to play the audio. Sorry, I won't play the clip. But I'll play the audio quote from Red Corner Boxing 99 on YouTube. Check him out.
Yeah.
Seems to do a lot of like boxing content, chats, similar to probably what we do, but his stuff is more suited around sort of going and interviewing the fighters. Check him out. Just put up a really good reel. It's about Bakoli talking about Itauma, so I'm going to play it now.
Okay.
future before him. I want him to build up his career like he did, but to pick Martin Bakole now, I think it's too early for him. I want him to work hard and maybe be a world champion tomorrow, but I don't want him to pick me now because he's making big mistake. He's playing with the fire. No, he's a man. If you think he can handle me, I'm open to it.
What's interesting about that is in 2 breaths he said, "I'll fight Itauma, but then I'm not going to fight him because like he's got to build his name up, all of this, and then be ready for me." Because in another breath in that interview, he said 5 fights and then we can talk.
Yeah.
His coach Billy Nelson questioned Itauma's chin, which is mental, by the way. I don't know. That video says to me that as well, and I respect Bakole, by the way.
Yeah.
I stood next to that man. He's a big guy, you know, guy. But I do, from a journalistic point of view, think that video that I've just watched also says to me that I don't want to fight Itauma because I don't want to get beaten up by a 20-year-old.
No, and there's going to be lots like that. There'll be a lot of people like that. So
I know I've said about Itauma not being ready, but people are scared of him, though. That's one thing. You talk about Coley in the heavyweight rankings now. Talk about what he done to him in sparring. Coley talks about it openly.
Yeah,
16 years old. So, are people scared of him? That's what we need to be asking.
I don't. So I think like with every boxer, there's not necessarily the fear of the fight, but that idea of losing.
The idea, let's not scared as in like you can't stand in front of him because you're gonna quiver. No one's doing that. That boxers in a professional game. If you're gonna fight, you're gonna fight.
Yeah.
I mean, scared as in the impact it could have financially on them, the impact that it could have on their business, on their career, on their record. That's what I mean when I say scared.
Yeah. Look, so yes is the answer. Moses is exceptional. We've got the case of now. I mean, Mike Balogun again. Like I said, he's not the best fighter. He's not world level, definitely not, and he's coming off of a long layoff. But watch how he did it. He had a big guy running at him, and Moses steps back and lands the cleanest counter hook that you'll see from a heavyweight. Not even just the cleanest, but the fastest, the pinpoint accuracy on it. Balogun was hurt. He wasn't defending himself hard. He's not going to get that opportunity against a higher level fighter, but he landed it. He thought to do that. Most heavyweights won't think to even throw that punch because they're heavyweights.
I hear it.
It's fair enough, but Moses is. We heard Tyson Fury saying about Tyson. He moves like a middleweight and hits like a heavyweight, all the rest of it. And it was one of Tyson's kind of go-tos until he fought Usyk and then dropped the whole thing because he was calling Usyk a middleweight. But Moses genuinely moves like a lightweight.
Yeah, but I take what Tyson Fury says with a pinch of salt. You know why? Because do you not remember what he was saying about Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua was coming up?
He's saying all sorts about Anthony Joshua.
No, in the gym. I've just met this heavyweight in the gym, and like hungry fight. He's going to be a world champion one day. Unreal. Then when it comes to like him being on the same level as him now, stiff boxer, bodybuilder, can't move, not great. So it's like I got to take what Fury says with a pinch of salt. I'm not going to lie, because I feel like if Fury had to fight him, the way his mind is wired, he'd be saying different things.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we don't even know what's going on with Fury, but let's talk about the main event now. Let's talk about the main event. Should Josh Taylor retire?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was watching a great breakdown analysis from Fowler, Andy Fowler, former boxer. He's got his own CBD company now. Very interesting. But he seems to be doing well after boxing. But I follow him on Instagram. He's always got good stuff going up. Does a lot of analysis on fights. Friend of Josh Taylor's as well, I believe as well. And what I think it was him that I was seeing it, and he was talking about it. But definitely, you've got to look at where he's at now. In terms of the fight specifically, he seemed to have control early on, and I'd say from round 7 or 8, it was he just looked like there was a couple of rounds in between that he could have lost just, up to 8. But I'd say majority of the rounds, Josh Taylor was winning most of them up to 8. But from 8 to 12, he didn't win any rounds. Essuman was all over him. And then Essuman nicked a couple of rounds earlier on as well, which I think helped him. So the scorecard, I can't be mad of it. I'll be real with you. I can't be mad of it. I mean, that's my opinion of how the fight went in terms of the scores. But I could also understand why the judges scored it the way they did, because I think Taylor started strong, looked good for the first 4 rounds, and then for me, just faded out. And we're talking about, like he fought Tio. Tio arguably is the best 140-pounder fighter there. Yeah. That's a noble loss. Like you lose against Tio, it's not like it doesn't end your career, right?
It doesn't really matter, yeah.
Then we're talking about Catterall, who probably comes at the moment under a level below them, but quality fighter. And I saw this online, and I'm sure it was Anthony Fowler that said it. But if he didn't say it, it was just somewhere I heard it and someone worded it great. So I'm just trying to remember it. But Catterall obviously lost against Barboza recently, but fought Taylor. First one went how it went. Second one, Catterall won, right?
Yeah.
So Taylor lost that fight. But that's a step down from Tio, right? So now he's fought Essuman. Essuman, the older man as well, being 36. Step down from Catterall, you would say, just in terms of where they're at in the rankings. You know, Essuman's trying to get to where he is, but he is where he is at the moment. That fight would have done him wonders, but would you say Essuman's a world-level fighter at the moment? Probably not in terms of when you're talking about the Tios and the Catteralls, but he could get there. He lost against Essuman. So you've gone essentially down, and you've lost those 3 fights. Where do you go after that? Achieving everything you wanted to achieve in boxing, I don't know. For me, I think if he carries on fighting and loses, it's only going to tarnish his reputation and record in boxing. If he retires now, then it's a great career.
Yeah, I think also another.
Denzel Bentley said that. Sorry, Denzel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another big thing is he's moved up in weight.
Yes.
There's nowhere for him to go. Welterweight, he has to rebuild, and you're looking at like, well, I don't even know, because you're kind of going, does he have to fight a level below Essuman to get a win on his record and get going again? Because if we're being honest, Josh Taylor's not won a fight for 4 years, 3 years. Catterall was 2022, and he lost that. He might be a win on his record, but he lost it. 23 was Lopez.
Yes, sir.
He lost. 24 was Catterall, and 25 was Essuman. So he's not actually won a fight since 2021. I think it's just he's caught. His time is done. He's tried to be. He is great. He's the only British person that's ever been unified and undisputed in the four belt era. And when he did it, the way he did it was incredible. But the level that he'd be fighting at now is not really. The money wouldn't be enough for him, and it doesn't justify a career that it doesn't get the. It's not what he deserves after the career, but he's now starting from the bottom. I think his next fight would have to be a Harry Scarf or someone that beat Essuman. That kind of just below the level, but Ekow Essuman's not world level yet.
Not yet. And to be fair, like that's no disrespect to Essuman, obviously.
No, of course he could get there.
Potentially now, this fight's done him wonders. He could go on, try and do something, and whatever he achieves. Wish the best for him. But going into this fight, the facts are the facts of where Essuman is in comparison to where Josh Taylor's been. But Josh Taylor was moving up to fight him at his weight. Yeah. So it's like you're fighting that man there who's done what he's done at that weight. You've gone into that fight, obviously. I think if he carries on fighting and loses, it tarnishes. The only fight that makes any sense is we wait to see how Catterall does in his upcoming fight against Harlem Eubank.
Yeah, you got the trilogy.
And then we make Josh Taylor Catterall free. That's the only fight I think that's there for Josh Taylor left. which he can make loads of money off. It can be a big event, and yeah, like it's a big fight.
Yeah.
It's a big fight. Like
It is a big fight, but does anybody want it?
I would see it again because it's 1-1.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah.
Hear me out. For Catterall, it's 1-1. In his head, it's like, do you get it? We all know it should be 2-0 in it. But saying that though, we've got fucking Katie Taylor and Serrano free. For what reason have we got that, by the way? Sorry, just to go off topic, and I'm not going off topic, but it does link. We've got 3 fights. So with the third fight, it's 2-0 to Katie Taylor. How does that make any sense? The only reason they're doing it is money, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest fight.
Trilogy, it's a stupid trilogy to make.
You're right.
GWH Murphy, I get what you're saying. It's 1-1 the same way Fisher and Allen is, yeah? But we all know who won the first Taylor and Catterall fight. That's down to poor judging. But doesn't matter. Josh Taylor's got the W on his record. Go and box for it. Josh Taylor's got it.
Yeah.
So it's 1-1. I want to see Catterall and Taylor free. I want to see the trilogy. What I don't want to see is Serrano and Katie Taylor free when Katie Taylor's winning 2-0. It doesn't make any sense.
But hear me out. Serrano and Katie Taylor's, but that is the best fight in women's boxing.
Yeah, but she's lost twice.
Yeah, but the second fight, you could argue.
Chantal Cameron could have been a great trilogy. It would have been a better trilogy.
Not in terms of the quality of the fight.
No, but when you're talking,
more deserved, yeah, because it's 1-1. That is a legitimate 1-1. Yeah, that is 1-1. But I agree. Chantal Cameron should get that chance. But in terms of the level of the money and the actual quality of the fights, Taylor Serrano, I can't complain about that. I could see them fight 5 times.
I can complain about it when it's 2-0. It's 2-0 to Katie Taylor, yeah? It's done. So if she wins now, the third fight, Serrano, it's 2-1.
Yeah. Run it back again.
No. It's just like, you know what it's going to turn into? Mission Impossible. How many films are there? 8?
Oh, I don't know.
I was looking at this the other day. Tom Cruise is 62 now. Someone told me when the first film was. But he's doing his 8th Mission Impossible film. Well, he's done it and released it already this year.
Yeah. There's
8 films. Do you get it?
Jesus. Yeah.
Do we need 8 films? No. People will enjoy it though. So I understand. That's why there's a demand for it. Same way Katie Taylor Serrano, there's a demand for it. But there is definitely a demand for Catterall and Taylor free. They can make that proper tasty. Plus, if Catterall does come out of that and lose against Harlem Eubank, I think they'll both be forced into that match because it's the fight that's going to make any money for them. That's a big fight. The British public will still turn up for Kayla Catterall free. Mission very possible. Yeah, I hear it. Mission impossible. Mission very possible. Do you know what's mission very possible? Yeah, you might wake up tomorrow. Yeah, and do you know what wouldn't surprise me?
What?
Katie Taylor, Serrano 7. Yeah, if we're doing this, it's going to be like 6-1, and then you're going to tell me it's still justified because I love.
No, but at that point it's not. But right now, I think it is justified.
It's you've lost your mind, Connor. Sorry.
No, right. Anyway, look, we agree. Josh Taylor should realistically. Josh Taylor should retire. Catterall, maybe that does make sense, but
yeah.
Let's talk about Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo. Now, this is a properly weird event because they're not fighting each other.
Yeah, but that's a best event. If Louis is still watching this now, yeah, matchmaker, that's what you want. Louis knows. Louis knows if he's in the chat. Louis was watching this earlier, yeah? You want your 2 fighters who might fight on the card and get them in the ring afterwards. Get them both on the door or just have them on the same event. It sells that event. Don't be for the next event because it's going to sell the next event as well. Because right, they both need to win to fight. Because what's going to throw a spanner in is if one of them lose.
And I wouldn't be, honestly, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
I need to see Charlo. I need to see this fight, Plant and Charlo. I can't lie to you.
Same, but we've not.
Slap.
But we've not seen Charlo since 2023, and before that, he hadn't fought since 2021.
And Caleb Plant's not been massively active either, so they're in the same boat. They need this fight, right? Before they a big fight.
Yeah, I mean Caleb Plant fought September last year. I mean, we're talking basically,
and then
9 months out, 10 months out, and he fought.
Is it like a year apart his fights?
Who? Plant?
Plant, yeah.
More than. Really?
That's what I'm saying to you. So like
Anthony Dirrell to Benavidez was, yeah, he's averaging since Canelo. He's averaging like a fight just under a year, around about a year each fight.
That's not active. So
I'm not saying it is active, but I'm saying look at Jermall Charlo. Yeah, Charlo's had one fight in 4 years.
What was his issue though? He got arrested. Was it him? I get lost with the brothers. I mean, because you got Jamal and Jamel, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Jermall Charlo. The mum just changed one letter in the name.
Yeah, twins as well.
Twins as well. That is a headache. But what I'm trying to say is, if I'm not mistaken, there was an issue to why he didn't. It
is Jermall. He's been back and forth with he's been breaking laws, getting arrested, all sorts. He's doing all sorts.
So Caleb Plant might actually be going into this fight. It's about how they look as well, I guess, Connor, isn't it? Like on the night for their 2 fights they've got. How are they going to look? Who's going to look better? That's going to throw some doubt in for the next fight. If Plant goes in there and rashes off the opponent early, and Charlo's doing 12 rounds, mental war games already.
Yeah.
Plant might be sitting ringside. Who's main eventing? Plant or Charlo?
Not released. BoxRec have it as Plant, but it's not released. I imagine it would be Caleb Plant.
Yeah, and then Charlo beforehand.
Yeah, but it's where is the fight? Vegas. I mean, Caleb Plant lives in Vegas. I don't know. Neither of them. I don't think either of them are from as in originally from Vegas. Let's have a look and see. Charlo. Texas, yeah. So no, I don't know, but the point, my point with this is that Charlo is actually getting in there with somebody who does fight quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's not the most actually. No, do you know what? I'm looking at his box right now, and I've. The guy's fighting's on a good streak, but he fought 3 times 2023, 2020, once in 2024, and then once in 2025.
Yeah.
He fought in March. He's active. It wouldn't be a surprise for him to win. My issue is the quality of who they're fighting. Charlo is obviously 33-0, all the rest of it, blah, 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 blah. And Charlo, let's not get it mixed. He's a great fighter. He is a really good fighter. But it's a really weird one to talk about. I'm not that excited for the event. I like watching Caleb Plant fight. I'm a big fan of Caleb Plant. It'll be interesting to see Jermall Charlo. They've been put in there with opponents that I think are pretty purposefully not that great to make sure they both win. Caleb Plant's in a tougher fight against Resendez, but it's still not anything special.
Do you know what's mad? Yeah, because we're talking about middleweight, super middleweight, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we talk about Plant, yeah. Honestly, compare him to the British fighters. Super middleweight. Shiraz, Eubank.
Callum Simpson,
he's a light heavyweight. His last fight was at light heavyweight. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm talking current.
No, his last fight was super middle.
Not Callum. Sorry, thinking of Callum Smith. Sorry, why did I think you talking about Callum Simpson? Yes, but so you got Callum Simpson, Hamza Shiraz, and Eubank. Yeah, Callum Simpson, great talent. It's not world level yet.
Nope.
But you've also got a couple of others in there as well, because there's UK. Because honestly, there was. What I'm trying to get at is who are we talking is on the same par as Caleb Plant right now?
Well, from Britain, it'd only be Shiraz. Outside of us, it'd be Christian and Billy, but I think Billy would beat Plant. Munguia, but that's obviously not the case at the moment because he's going to be banned. Diego Pacheco, maybe. Could be interesting.
Queensbury got a super middle as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So many boxers to keep up with, and I know them as well. Just remembering names, but he's been on Callum Simpson for time for a fight as well. But Callum Simpson, yeah, he's building something, but he's not quite ready yet. But he could be though. He's a good boxer. I've heard from people he's a nightmare in the gym as well for sparring. But at the moment, okay, we talk about Eubank coming towards the end of his career. We get his head pinged off by Caleb Plant. It's actually mad when you look at like the gap between super middles in like the US to UK right now.
I think Eubank would beat Caleb Plant.
Absolutely not.
I think he would.
Let's put that to the fans, the crowd, the comments. Would Chris Eubank Jr.
Great fight.
Plant? Let us know in the comments. I absolutely don't think he did. I'm not gonna buy this. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Eubank had a great fight against Ben, but let's be brutally honest here.
Yeah.
He's fighting a natural welterweight there. He's done enough. That win. I said it before. The win would do more for Conor Ben than it did Eubank.
Yeah, of course.
But every time he stepped up to world level, he's lost.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He looks slower against Ben as well, you know. Eubank.
Yeah, I mean that could be the
It's
way.
age.
Conor Ben was also hurting him.
Yeah.
New age. I think you'd beat Caleb Plant. I do, only because I think he's in there. Eubank would be. I think it just works. The style-wise, I think it works. Caleb Plant is a weird fight. He's quite a, what's the word? Or how do you describe it? It's quite a normal style. Not to say that it's not good. Caleb Plant's great to watch, but they match up stylistically quite well for Eubank to just throw the jabs out constantly. I think Eubank could outwork him. I really think Eubank could win that fight. Not by maybe by knockout. We haven't seen Eubank at super middle. If he's not cutting the weight, he'll be stronger. Also, if Eubank's not cutting the weight, his chin's going to be too. I do not see a world where Eubank doesn't.
I think if the best Caleb Plant turns up, I don't think Eubank touches him.
GW Murphy, the Eubank who fought Groves, I'd give a chance to. Let's pin this message. Now, after hanging at middleweight for years and aging, I think Plant would stop. Nah, I don't think he stops Eubank just because the weight would be higher. So Eubank's not cutting.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I agree with GW Murphy, you know, GWH Murphy, because I just don't see, like, I think we've got a decline in Eubank in terms of naturally because of age and everything, as you do when you get older. Nothing to do with question his mentality or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I just think as he's gotten older, right? Obviously Plant's getting older as well. But the thing is, yeah, like I'm going off the last time I watched Plant fight, innit? And I'm going off the last time I watched Eubank fight. Eubank more recently, but Eubank was fighting a welterweight. So I'm going off his last super middle or middleweight fight, shocking fight when he won the IBO, that world title that doesn't count in my opinion. But he won it against, and that was a terrible fight. Can you not agree?
I don't think it was terrible.
Terrible. Like, I say it because the level of opponent he was in there with compared to how Eubank is spoken about.
Yeah, okay. In that regard, I agree.
And then we're talking about
I can't even say his surname, but it's for Camille, whatever.
Yeah.
Something
So
Etta, but
we're talking about Plant, who is a world level fighter.
Yeah.
And it's like it's two different. The best a Eubank that turned up, Billy Joe Saunders beat him. I think he stepped up to world level twice. George Groves. George Groves fight, one arm, mental.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because I wouldn't say the Billy Joe Saunders fight was world level. So I'd really say stepped up once against
Billy
Groves.
Joe Saunders is like one of the best. Even I say it.
Yeah, no, I know, but when they fought, it's for the British title.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's not the best Billy Joe. You know, I mean, I'm taking away from my Eubank argument here, but I'm saying that Eubank's actually only fought really once at a world level. Maybe Liam Smith, but then we've seen Liam Smith at the moment, and he looks old.
He lost. That's my point. He lost the first fight.
He lost the first fight. He got knocked out.
So he won the first one.
Beat James DeGale. James DeGale
was a great fight. He's probably won. Do you know what? James DeGale. That's a credible opponent in terms of because James DeGale was unreal, by the way.
Yeah.
Unreal. Like, would you say, like, in terms of just what he achieved and what he done in boxing, very impressive. That is a good name on your record, to be fair, James DeGale.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, Eubanks, we're talking Liam Williams and Anthony Yildirim are kind of the level.
Yildirim being the name that a lot of people would know.
Yeah, but they'll know him for the wrong reason. I mean, he quit on his stool against Canelo after 2-3 rounds. And I remember that because that was one of the first times in 2021 I stayed up for Canelo. And I watched 2 rounds of it and he just stopped. I agree Plant has fought at a higher level. No doubt in my mind about that. I just think Eubank would win. I think Eubank's got something at the moment. I think his mentality has changed slightly. I could be really wrong, by the way. We could.
Yeah, everyone can be wrong.
Of course. But I think Caleb Plant is levels below Benavidez and Canelo. And I'm a big fan of Caleb Plant.
I think, do you know what it is? Yeah, hear me out, Connor, yeah?
Yeah.
I think the levels below is disrespectful. Like, they're better than him, but levels below is disrespectful.
But in fairness, I'm saying Canelo has boxing ability an all-time great, and Benavidez, I think, could very well get to the same point.
But yeah, Canelo, I can understand. Canelo's there. Canelo's there to a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think there's a gap between him and Benavidez, personally.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, okay, but then I'm going, Canelo is here, multi-weight, undisputed.
I can't, because your camera's frozen, but I know the stream's fine because I've checked, but it's just my camera to you.
Okay, well, look.
Explain what you're doing. Yeah.
For me, Canelo is top, right?
Yeah.
The level below that is Benavidez, even though I do think Benavidez could push to the level above, but whatever. The level below that is Caleb Plant. I don't think we know where current Chris Eubank fits into it because I think he prices himself out of fights. Which I'm not saying that's a form of ducking, but I am saying that fighters need to stop doing that because it kind of is a form of ducking. There's a point where you've got enough money. I'm not saying that you should take the fight for a tenner and a cornetto, but he should, if you're getting offered a couple million, then 10 million isn't needed when you've got 20 million from your last fight. That's all I'm saying. But look, my point is, Eubank has a lot of technique and abilities and cardio and a great chin. His timing is brilliant. His power, he is powerful. He could really hurt Caleb Plant. I don't think there's anything in my mind that says he couldn't, and he wouldn't be cutting weight as badly. He'd still have to cut a lot of weight, but he'd be big in that ring. Plant would still be the bigger guy, in height and reach and all the rest of it, but it's hard. But then let's look at this as also who are Caleb Plant's best wins?
Best wins.
Yeah. let's think about this. I mean, Anthony Dirrell recently is probably his most iconic win because of the celebration. But Caleb Plant didn't win his IBF title against sort of he beat Mike Lee, who was 21-0 for the title. Mike Lee then retired after, and I'm not being funny. Look, BoxRec isn't everything, but if we go on to it, Mike Lee's best win was a 10-rounder. His first 12-rounder was against Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant knocked him out, but Mike Lee's best win was
won three times in round 3, though.
Yeah, that's insane for a world title fight. I'm not taking away from Caleb Plant. He has won a world title. He is by far better than that of Eubank. But if you look at the resumes, I really don't see that much difference other than one is a world title. One has a world title. And that means a lot. It does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying legacy-wise, it's probably closer now after the Conor Benn fight, but realistically, a world title means more, I think. So Caleb Plant is better on paper, but I think that's a really tough fight for the both of them. But I think Eubank could beat Caleb Plant.
Do you know what's interesting? Yeah, you remember he fought Trevor McCumbee?
Yeah.
They're still saying that he's suspended for something he done back in 2018. Wow.
What, Trevor McCumbee?
We're talking. Do you know what's mad about this? Yeah, we've just done a big thing on drugs at the start. Who was banned for it in 2018? Trevor McCumbee.
Is that right, or is that just because he got knocked out in his last fight?
No. He denied. So McCumbee denied using any performance-enhancing drugs. He changed his tune after results were in. Nevada State Athletic Commission subsequently suspended McCumbee for 18 months and fined him £3,750 for rule violations. That was back in 2018.
Yeah,
you didn't know that.
Your test? No, I didn't know that.
Another little dirty cheater. Wow. I was going to say Trevor McCumbee was a good, just unbeaten fighter that Caleb Plant fought, but to be fair, he was toying with him. It was so one-sided in there that, the thing is, I get what you're saying, but it's like when I look at just on Caleb Plant, who he is, he's not afraid to fight anyone. He'll go in there. He's a really old-school fighter. If he's given the opportunity, he will. If he beats Charlo's a flipping great name on his record. So it's like, if Charlo...
I will say, if he beats Charlo, then I think he will beat Eubank.
Okay, interesting. But then again,
once we've seen that,
the thing is, that's if we get the best Charlo.
There's also that, but we will be getting an active Charlo at that point because that fight is meant to happen this year. So that's the benefit of the event of this week. I think if it was happening Plant versus Charlo this weekend, I think Plant would win quite easily.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to see a very good Charlo this weekend, and if we do, I'd be surprised, but I'd also be quite happy because it means that their fight will be better. But Charlo's got a big task. He's going up in weight, and he kind of needs to look good because he is one of America's better fighters, just very inactive. So we'll see. And his brother obviously took his place against Canelo, so he kind of needs to prove that he is of a level. Other than that, I mean, that was quite a big box this week. That felt right for a 50th episode. We have covered one, Eddie Reynoso, you need to be investigated. So does the whole Canelo gym.
Connor, do you know what I need of you? I need a picture with all of them behind jail bars and Reynoso and saying, busted.
We'll do that. Moses Itauma was the future. Josh Taylor should probably retire. And Plant and Charlo is a big event.
Did you enjoy it? But also, we should mention on every stream, we are running a competition. Connor, do you want to let everyone know what we're doing?
Yes. So it's a giveaway. 500 subscribers. We are at 85. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe GW Murphy, you have subscribed during the stream, which means you are entered Click the wrong button there. Giveaway. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much as well on a side note. But that means you are entered into the £50 Amazon gift card giveaway. Once we've hit 500 subscribers, we will do a video. It will be on a live stream. It will be, however, you don't have to watch it. Ideally, you will, but you don't have to. Announcing who the winner is. We'll get in contact and we will probably just send you a code. That's probably the easiest way. But whatever, for £50 Amazon gift card. Ideally, people will say that they've subscribed. I'm going to put GW Murphy in because I'm going to take a guess because you've been active in the comments that it was you. Point is, we're doing a giveaway, 50 quid, Amazon gift card. Once we hit 500, we'll give it away. I mean, there's not much more to it, to be fair.
Second thing as well, you can support the stream. We have a link in the comments. Anything. We was asked this the other week. There was nowhere for anyone to sort of donate to the stream if they felt they needed to. Times are hard though, so sometimes just bring yourself and bring your vibes to the comments. I don't care. But if you do feel generous and you are able to donate or kindly give anything, a penny, 10p, doesn't matter, man. Money's money, and it helps to go towards the stream to put on good streams for you guys. But we still do them regardless. There is a link in the comments as well. But ultimately, just bring yourself as well. If you can't donate, bring yourself. You can still contribute to this stream more ways than just money. And that is not the most important thing to us in terms of if it means that you are not going to be here. So, yes, like I said to you, I'm going to leave that on that note. But you know where the competition is. You know where the comment, where the link is as well. They're all plastered in our comments.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy.
I'm also going to say just very quickly on Saturday we have, if you are a football fan, we are doing the Champions League football. We're doing the final, and if you are a boxing fan, you're staying up late because I know we'll have a lot more UK people. Oh, but this is good timing, right? Okay. Murphy, you're a legend, mate, because this has just worked out. How often do you stream? Also, we appreciate the fact you are subscribed, and we appreciate if you come back next week. We'll look forward to it. How often do we stream? We stream every Thursday, doing the Boxing This Week show, covers everything that's happened in that week of boxing. We also do on a Saturday or fight nights, really. We will do whatever the big event is. We'll do a watch along. We've done quite a few recently, of which they've been actually really good. We had loads of comments, loads of chat. It's really, really good. We've also started doing football, which I think it's been pretty good.
So we were a multi-sports channel for people that don't know. And what it is the boxing's our bread and butter. The show will always be here every single week without a fail. But if you or anyone else likes anything else, if you're interested in football, you're interested in darts or anything like that, we do watch longs for that as well. It doesn't affect the boxing. It runs separately to the boxing, but it's on the channel so people can watch and enjoy it. It just gives. Do you see Sky Sports? See Sky. If you've got a Sky package, we are Sky. That's who we are. Maybe one day Connor's going to be. He might get sent out to go to a local park, not a park. That sounds weird. A local conservatory, put on a David Attenborough voice. We might do documentaries. I don't know. Park sounds
maybe.
Weird.
Park was a bit odd, but this weekend we've got Champions League, and then later on the night, if you're still up, join us for the American stream. Caleb Plant, Jermall Charlo, come out.
Usually Connor and sometimes me.
Yeah, I'm always, if it's a big American stream, I'm always there.
I tried to be.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. Unless you're Barry, you won't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And then boxing this week, back to normal. But yeah, as Paolo said, we appreciate it. Much appreciation to Murphy. I'm just going to be Murphy's. I've forgotten. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you. Good night.